old friends and some new faces also. I have a significant personal investment in this bureau, and it is important to me, extremely important to me, that our relationship between the department and the community continue to progress, and to continue to progress in a mutual state of cooperation and transparency. So that's why I'm here tonight. And I have not done community meetings all over town relative to the Christopher Dorner matter. This is one of the few that I will do. You know, I normally leave it in the capable hands of my deputy chiefs. I have great faith in Deputy Chief Bob Green and Captain Arcos, and I know that they ably represent the police department here and represent me. So I'm not doing this because I don't think that you have a good relationship with them. I do this because I love this community, and it's important to me what you think about the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you, Chief Beck, for coming to the community. We've known each other for many years. For those of you that don't know me, I've been an organizer in South Central for the last 20 years of my life. My question to Chief Beck is, in the search for Dorner on February 7th, LAPD officers fired on a vehicle with 2 innocent civilians, wounding both of them. One of them was shot in the back. Both victims had no resemblance to Dorner or his vehicle. And you're quoted, Chief Beck, as saying that a tragic misinterpretation by officers working under incredible tension. That's a direct quote from you in response to what happened. But I believe that there's another word that more accurately describes such conduct as shooting innocent people by the LAPD. It's called criminal. The official LAPD manual says that the guiding value when using force shall be reverence for human life. LAPD officers are only authorized to use deadly force when it is reasonably believed to be an imminent threat of death or seriously bodily injury. In the case of moving vehicles, which we all know from the Devin Brown case, firearms shall not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is immediately threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means of that vehicle. Shooting innocent people in the pursuit of Dorner was not just wrong, it's indefensible. The question is, Chief, whether you will have the courage and conviction, as you stated, by removing officers, to discipline them with what they did, but also the command staff whose first reaction was to defend the conduct. So I just want to get an update on where we are in my closing. I want to make it real clear. I don't defend what Dorner did, but to many in South Central, we believe what Dorner said. And that's why what he said resonated with many of us, because many of us have been victims of police abuse, or know someone has been a victim in South Central. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Skip.
And I appreciate the question. That shooting in Torrance was tragic. Nothing that I said there was defending the officer's actions. I said that it was a tragic misidentification, which it was. There is an investigation that is underway. The officers involved have been removed from field duties while that occurs, and the results will be made public. You know, I went to the home of the 2 women involved. I apologized to them personally. I made it through department contact, secured them a new truck because their truck was damaged beyond repair. I did none of this, none of that, not the apology, not the new truck, to mitigate what was done or to repay them for what was done. I did it because I thought it was right. And I stand by what I said. Those officers were under tremendous pressure that night. We had 2 sets of officers that had come under attack by Dorner. One was tragically killed. 2 others were wounded. There was a lot of stress, and that doesn't excuse what happened. And I will look into what happened. But you have to understand those were unique circumstances, and I feel extremely bad about what happened, and I have apologized for it. And we will hold the officers accountable for their actions, and I guarantee that.
Chief Beck, we go back many years. I want to thank you for bringing your officers here to our community to address this issue of Christopher Dorner. We don't condone his behavior, but we understand his behavior from the past of the LAPD and how we've seen systemic racism through the Warren Christopher Commission report. So now here we are again. We're dealing with the manifesto. We're asking, I'm going to be asking this Friday, if we can have an independent investigation because we don't believe that all of our eggs in one basket should be there. We believe two heads are better than one. And so we want you to prove to us that you are really going to be looking out for the best interest of us. But when we hear the testimony from the assailant that actually said that he was kicked twice in the head and in the ribs, it's nothing else for us to understand in terms of whether or not he reported it, Christopher, or he did not. He reported it. We believe that when he was in the military, he was a hero. But when he came outside to follow policy and procedure at the age of 28, it seemed as though you made him into a zero.
Can we get the question?
And so what we're saying this is just, Chief. We saw the policy and the procedure in Torrance, where the officers shot first and asked questions second. We saw that. And so now what we're saying is that we need you to make sure that in the Bill of Rights, that we now have a bullhorn saying, come out with your hands up, and put the strobe light on them so that they can at least be aware of, so they can be in a position to deal with. That's all of my time. Thanks for a little bit of your time. There's so much more.
Thank you.
Before you came here, Chief, we talked about Dorner being a 3N man. To some, he was a myth. To some, he was a martyr. To some, he was a monster. But when you read the blogs that on just about every website you can think of, one thing is not mentioned, and that no one calls him a liar. And one of the questions is asked is that he posed, well, he didn't pose a question, but he made a statement in his manifesto. He stated that 2 officers were suspended for using the N-word around him for 22 days. He said they're now still working in South Parole. Is that true?
Well, Taco, I don't know where they were. I know that this was an issue that was dealt with very seriously by the command when it occurred. 22 days is the absolute general limit prior to being fired. Generally, once you get a 22-day suspension, you know that's your last opportunity. You know, I can't give all the details of that case because it's a personnel matter. I will say that the 2 individuals that were making the comments weren't doing it we're doing it inappropriately, but we're of mixed race and we're doing it in a kind of a jovial way between themselves. Now that doesn't excuse it, and it certainly doesn't make it any less wrong. It just kind of explains it, you know. And I know that sometimes that word is, and it's an important word to me, gets used in various contexts by various people. You know, and that's the best explanation I can give.
Real quick, if I could ask Deputy Chief Green, being the Deputy Chief of South Bureau, do they work in South Bureau? Do they work for your command center?
I don't know. I don't know who the officers are, Kevin. I couldn't tell you if they work shop or not. I can't tell you where they work.
Thank you.